Hello and welcome to Japanese craft beer reviews. How are you? We are in September and it is near the end of September and it looks like summer is finally over. We've been having temperatures over 30 degrees since probably June, so it's been 3-4 months and it looks like the heat is finally letting off a bit. And we'll see. Today it was around 32 degrees centigrade, maybe around mid-high 80s, and we will see. I don't know. Yesterday I went out and got some sun. Unfortunately, it looks like I got a bit of a sunburn. But well, let's get on to the beer. Today's beer is a fairly new one, and it is called Ise Kadoya Suzumi Cold IPA. And this is the style, the cold IPA style, and I'll talk a little bit about it, and I will talk a little bit about the brewery as well. This is an IPA, and it is 6.5%, 55 international bittering units, and it's made by Ise Kadoya Brewery, which is a little bit about the brewery. Now, it's a long-standing sake brewery dating back to 1575, located in Mie Prefecture of Japan, Ise City, which is kind of has two large shrines. Actually, I think they're considered one shrine, but they're in different locations, and they're rather sacred to the imperial family. When a new emperor comes in, which doesn't happen very often, he has to go there and spend the night and commune with the gods. And the shrine is torn down and rebuilt every 20 years, exactly the way it was before. It's kind of an interesting place. So very important in the Shinto tradition in Japan. So 1575, but the beer brewery opened in a little bit more recently, 1997. And one of the founders is Suzuki-san, who has a PhD in biology, and I think he focused on yeast. Good thing for a brewer. And they opened a new brewery in 2018 and kind of expanded their production. They're one of the most productive Japanese breweries in terms of bringing out new beers. Every time you turn around, they have something new coming out, really. So they don't focus just on their core line of their flagship beers, but many different types of beers. And they have a number of shops in Ise. They have a restaurant in Naiku, the inner shrine area, and in Gekku, the outer shrine area. And they also have a couple of places in Tokyo. They have a restaurant in Shinjuku area and also in Yaesu, a tap room. So you can try a lot of their seasonal and limited beers. And they do put out a lot of limited beers. And the head brewer is a very nice guy named Deguchi. Met him on a few occasions. So they're very, very productive and quite successful, I think, brewery. So let's talk a little bit about this beer here, which is in the cold IPA style. And cold IPA is a style which was developed in Portland, Oregon by Wayfinder Brewery several years ago. And the idea was to try to create a beer that was kind of like an ale, like an IPA, but also has kind of the crispness of a lager. So it is brewed with lager yeast, and it's fermented at a higher temperature than a lager, but colder temperature than an ale. Again, this is a fermentation after the boil. So higher than lager, which is generally fermented quite low temperature, but higher than an ale, which is often fermented at room temperature. And it's also dry hopped. And so people say, well, you know, if you're making a lager yeast, why isn't it a lager, an India Pale Lager, an IPA? Well, a few differences here. First of all, IPAs tend to be all malt and fermented a bit colder than these beers, these IPAs. So all malt. Cold IPAs can include adjuncts, including things like rice or corn as well. And cold IPAs are not lagered, so lager beers generally spend, like 30 days in a cold room before they're released. So, and again, these may have corn or rice here. So the idea is they both contain IPL and cold IPA, both contain lager yeast, but the idea with the cold IPA is to bring a more hop-forward kind of beer, like an IPA, but with a crisp and clean taste like a lager. I hope that's clear enough here. That's the basic differences as I understand it. So this beer, now this beer is called Suzumi cold IPA. Suzumi has the meaning of coolness or like a cool breeze, something like that here. This one has only one rating on Rate Beer, and that was at 3.4 out of 5. Untapped, there were 75 ratings when I checked, and the average was higher, 3.84. And again, 6%, 55 international bittering units, and the beer cost me 605 yen where I bought it, and they focus on Southern Hemisphere hops. So the hops include Citra Cryo, Nelson Sauvin, and Galaxy, which are generally New Zealand hops here. And lager yeast, but again, a higher fermentation temperature than lagers are usually fermented at here. So, and it does contain an adjunct of corn, which is designed to lighten up the body, make it seem less like an ale body, more like a lager body. Okay, so let's give this one a go. I'm always happy to try new things by Ise Kadoya. Generally, the results are quite good. And I have an Ise Kadoya glass. I should be using it. I'm not. Instead, I'm using Ibaraki Bakuon glass from 2014. Ibaraki Bakuon is a beer and music festival held in October. It will be held again. I think it's the 10th anniversary coming up next month. So, all right, what do we have here? It is lightly hazy, could be chill haze, I'm not sure. Lightly hazy, sort of pastel yellow. And we put the light behind it. And carbonation, very, very light carbonation rising up from the bottom. Maybe you cannot see it. Aroma, oh yeah, right away we get the down under kind of hoppiness. Certainly with Citra and Galaxy. Nelson Sauvin should give a kind of grape, white wine sort of grapey note. And I am getting a bit of that too as well. A little bit grassy, very pleasant. Okay. Certainly a lot of that tropical New Zealand hoppiness. Citra is the primary one, I think. Definitely, they're using Citra Cryo, which is a hop's been put through a process to increase the amount of hop oils that they release into the beer. So you may see Citra, or you may see Citra Cryo, and generally the Cryo one is supposed to put out a lot more hop oil. Yeah, very pleasant. Kind of light bodied. The thing about a cold IPA though is I don't think you would really confuse it with a lager. It definitely has a lighter body than an ale. You know, it's not sticking on the tongue whatsoever. But yeah, still. Yeah, this is really well hopped up. 55 IBUs. I think you'd rarely see a lager with that level of bitterness, and it really is quite bitter. It goes through the tropical fruit, and then at the end, or in the mid palate, the hops really start digging in, and you can feel it on the tongue. Definitely has some bitter tracks there as well. This is pleasant. I don't think it's great, and the style, you don't see too many of them around, and I don't really get the style actually myself. I don't see the the reason for it. You know, make an IPA or make a lager. If you want to hop up a lager, go ahead and hop it up. You know, but you know, which is what they've done here, and they've added you know, corn to lighten it up too as well. I don't think this is going to be a style that will become very, very popular. It may not even stick around for a while. I could be wrong, but in any case. And I'm not really saying go back to basics or anything like that, but you know, I don't know. We get all kinds of mixes the other day. A brewery which I really respect has just produced a white stout, and I want to get my hands on that one and try it out and see what it's like. So don't ask me how they did it, but in any case, this is fine. I think I could give this maybe a 3.4, maybe 3.5 here. It does have a lot of tropical fruit. Got some grapes, maybe peaches, and a bit of grassiness as well. So again, it's called Ise Kadoya Suzumi Cold IPA, 6.5% and 55 IBUs. Give it a go if you happen to see it. You try anything by Ise Kadoya, you won't be disappointed in general. That's it for today. I hope you're doing well, and I hope your summer is shaping up well. The end of your summer is shaping up well. We are now into fall officially. We've had the equinox just recently. So you do take care. Bye-bye.